this country.
Let me take you back a bit. Whereas I hear you, Nigerians, we can be obnoxious, we can be ambitious, we can be aggressive, and that, of course, will tend to engender hostility from some natives of our host countries. But what about the quality of the envoys who are sent to these countries? We're seeing that fewer professional diplomats are being sent out and more political appointees are being sent out. What impact is that having on the quality of diplomacy that is going on?
Well, it's obvious because you cannot, diplomacy is not something you just pick up. And this assumption that anyone can be an ambassador, I think is very wrong. It's outrageously out of the...
Oh, gosh.
Yes. And then what has happened is that you had quite a number of these political appointees who really didn't know what to do or how to, or what their responsibilities should be, and who have gone out and they have given us some bad image in this respect. As I said, there is no substitute for experience, and the experience can only be gotten from those who were inside the house and had been groomed upwards.
Career diplomats.
Yes, to get to those positions. And they would adequately represent Nigeria. To some extent, the government has done that well, particularly for the multilateral posts, like Vienna, New York, Geneva, Addis Ababa, so that you get only our career officers going to these missions. Because that's the open house, which reflects the country, and it was necessary to have this done in this way. A few lapses in which they've sent one or two of them like that to these missions, it has backfired, and they have learned their lessons. They no longer send them to those posts anymore.
Do you have any advice to Nigerians who may wish to go and live abroad? Because sometimes there are complaints about our attitudes and the way we behave when we go to these places. Is there any advice you want to give any of us who would want to go and live abroad? About how to behave when we get to those places?
Well, first of all, I think once you get to the embassy where you obtain your visa and so on, I think it would be good to get some information as to what you are supposed to do not to run foul of the law of the country you are visiting. And I'm sure the embassy in Abuja or the consulate in Lagos will be able to give the appropriate advice as to, including even places to stay and what to do. And because most of the time we just get a visa and we never bother to find out.
I recall the case of a gentleman who was caught with drugs. I think it was in Thailand or Malaysia or somewhere,
Yes.
where it was the Singapore.
Yes,
And
Singapore,
it was death penalty.
Malaysia is death penalty for drugs, yes.
And all the diplomacy that went on, nothing worked.
It never happened.
He was killed.
I would still blame the Nigerians who got themselves into this, because I had flown into Singapore and Malaysia during my career years a lot of times. And really, when you're on the flight, before the flight lands, there's a warning, which is distributed to all passengers, that in case you are carrying any drugs on your person, better go to the toilet and have them flushed off, because you will face the full wrath of the law on landing and if you are caught. So at every stage, but I guess the foolhardy Nigerians will still want to take the chances, and this is exactly what has happened. Because even at the last minute, they had a chance to avoid getting into trouble, and they still didn't take advantage of it.
Okay, all right, we have to wrap up now. So in terms of your final word on what Nigerian government, because when it comes to protecting our citizens abroad, it falls primarily on the shoulder, in the hands of the government. What should Nigerian government be doing from here on to ensure adequate protection is given to Nigerians abroad?
They have the mandate already, and they are exercising that mandate.
But the numbers don't
then-
seem to reflect
Well,
whatever that
Yes,
expression
there
of
have
that
been some
mandate is.
complaints. There have been some complaints. I agree that there have been some complaints by some people who didn't get the requisite services they wanted. Also. But again, I may be wrong. There are some Nigerians who, so-called VIPs, who go abroad and expect to have certain things laid out for them. And so when they get disappointed...
By the embassy?
Yes, by the embassy. When they get disappointed that it's not happening, they get angry. Well, if you are not an official, or you're not on an official trip to that country, the fact that you are a big businessman back in Nigeria does not entitle to you to any type of special
Diplomatic
treatment.
status.
Exactly, and in the country. And when they don't get it, of course, they complain, the rest of it. That is to be expected. But there are also other Nigerians who know what to do. They don't even try to bother their embassies, and they get their things done. And I had just gone to South Africa, and I didn't even go to our High Commission in Pretoria, because I didn't have cause to go there. Whatever I needed, I got locally, and I was happy with that trip.
Right?
Okay, we've been chatting with Ambassador Kunle Adeyemi, a former Nigerian ambassador to the United Nations in Geneva.
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming.
It's been a pleasure.
Sunrise will return in just a moment with the home stretch, our favorite part of the program.
Yeah.